In 2019, the government of Cameroon granted a special status to the northwest and the southwest region of Cameroon, a key decision of the major national dialogue organized a few months earlier in a bid to fine-tune solutions to the ongoing crisis that has been rocking that part of the country for close to 9 years now. And in 2021, alongside the special status, came the role of the public independent conciliator, a non-legal figure that's in charge of settling disputes between users and administrations in those parts of the country. And 6 years after the major national dialogue and the resolutions adopted, how are the regions concerned faring, and how close are we to the end of the crisis? Our guest is Simon TAMFU. He's the public independent conciliator of the Northwest region. And in the course of this program, we'll be joined by Sabrina G, live from Studio 2. She'll be discussing with Simon TAMFU the role of the public independent conciliator and the work he has been carrying out ever since he was appointed to that office. I am Kingsley Nche, and you're watching the Grande Interview on PRC TV. Welcome to the presidency. Good day, Mr. Simon TAMFU.
Good day, Kingsley.
Welcome to the presidency.
Thank you for having me.
Now, just briefly, you have a wonderful experience. I'm not going to be able to list all of that, but you've worked at the National Hydrocarbons Corporation, that's SNH, the state oil corporation here in Cameroon, with more than 30 years of experience.
Yes.
And you were on retirement before you were appointed a public independent conciliator.
Correct.
Okay, sir. Now, you had to travel all the way from Bamenda in the Northwest region in order to make it for this program to Yaoundé. Now, that region has been crisis-stricken for close to 9 years now. Tell us, how was your trip? Were you secure? Did you travel in good conditions?
Well, the trip was very secure. I traveled very well from Bamenda to Yaoundé, especially between Bamenda and Babaju. The road is done, and it doesn't give us any problem anymore. So we travel very well in that part of the country right now, from Bamenda to Yaoundé.
Now, you've been in Bamenda for more than 2 years now, ever since you were appointed public independent conciliator. Can you tell us how are things faring there today? Are things returning to normal? Are schools operational? Are services functional?
Things are gradually becoming normal. Schools are functioning in big towns, but in the villages, the fear of the unknown, schools are not very operational, but there is a great evolution in terms of bringing normalcy and peace to the Northwest region.
Now, in the two regions affected, that's the Northwest and the Southwest regions, we've had for the past 9 years now the habitual ghost towns that are being organized in those areas, especially on Mondays, stopping activities, paralyzing everything. We were told that considerable efforts are being made in the region of the Southwest, especially in places like Kumba, where the ghost towns are beginning to subside. Is it the case in the Northwest region?
In the Northwest, it is not that spectacular. In the Northwest, things are coming to normal gradually. In the Northwest, you can distinguish the green zones from the yellow zones, from the red zones. The red zones have what you would call these ghost towns. But if you go to Bamenda today, go to Upstation, which is a green zone. Upstation is a transformed area. There's a lot of building going on. You don't have an impression that it is a town which is under stress of this insecurity. But then elsewhere there is still improvement. In those days, the downtown Bamenda used to be completely dry. Today, it is not the case. People have decided to, create a backdoor for their business, and then the business is going on. I think now I can say it is the fear of the unknown. It is not the real thing, but generally, things are coming down to normal.
Is there some kind of, from your experience being there in the Northwest, especially in the city of Bamenda, is there some kind of resilience from the population trying to, go at a loggerheads against the orders of the secessionists to go against the ghost towns and to carry their activities?
Yes, Kingsley, this ghost town doesn't save anybody. The population is tired. Even the fighters are also tired. And the people use opportunities to, kidnap people for ransom, demand monies from people. It is not as coordinated as it used to be. So I can say that I'm seeing the end of it because it is not coordinated. Now, when you have somebody who is not working, he has a gun with him, with some ammunition, he tries to live by taking a risk with his life to go to the street to try, but there's nothing coordinated like a movement and so forth. So that's why I'm saying that I'm seeing the end of the tunnel.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much. Now, we have, apart from the ghost towns, other issues concerning the internally displaced persons.
Yeah, there are internally displaced persons in Bamenda, just like in the west, which is a neighboring region to the northwest. This crisis actually traumatized people because people lost their livelihood, people lost their relatives, and then they relocated to green areas. Now, a few of those people are trying to go back, but a lot of them are still across, because when you look at it, those people who left Bamenda in particular, Northwest in particular, to the west, they are very well welcome there. So it is this impression, which is that there is something against the Anglophones, it's completely out of the question, because when people displace themselves to the west, they are welcome, they are installed, and then they live there. But a few of them are starting to go back. And this is what we are preaching. For us to have this peace, we have to go back, and the population has to own its own, development in its hands, own its own security in its hands. The state cannot put a security person behind everybody. But you've been seeing that in other places, even in the northwest, the population has come out to, I condemn this, I believe in human life. They've come out to, catch these separatists and then kill them. I don't support that, but you see that the population has had it up to a certain level where they cannot stomach it anymore.
Okay. Now, before I bring in Sabrina, who will be dealing with you on issues related to your office, that of the Public Independent Conciliator, there's much you've already been doing there in the Northwest region, especially at the end of the major national dialogue. We know a couple of recommendations were put in place, resolutions were taken, and you were telling me a while ago before we got on set that thanks to your work, the head of state has implemented a couple of measures to help the population, especially the printing of booklets, the cancelling of debts owed by councils to fake up. Can you give us more light on that?
Yes, I think that we have been very much supported by the powers that be in our job, because when we went to Bamenda and started this work, we were there to get complaints from the population, complaints which were gotten out of their interaction with the councils, and then we're trying to solve these problems amicably as dictated by our text. And then along the way, we registered an outcry that there was, councils were charging a lot of monies, and in different councils, different amount for civil status documents, which are birth certificate, death certificate, and marriage certificate. These things by law are free. So we launched a campaign to make sure that the population benefits from these documents free. And then we had another complaint from the population, which was that the civil status documentation booklets were in shortfall. They were not available in the councils, And those which were available in the council, I think some people created artificial scarcity to be able to extort money from the population. We had that in our report, and we reported to the President of the Republic, and he ordered a 200 million francs worth of booklets to be printed for the whole country, not only for the Northwest. Okay? And the booklets flooded the Northwest, and we solved that problem. Then problem number 2, which came along the way, was that the councils said, you know, the region is stressed because of the insecurity. They cannot generate income locally. And then they are under a crushing debt from FACOM. We carried that in our report, and very happily we saw that the President decreed that debts owed by councils from FACOM should be written off in the country. So we thought that that was very good. And then this campaign about the civil status documentation, which I talked to you about, at the end of 2024, the President enacted a law which, you know, modernized, facilitated the obtention of civil status documents and made them digital, so the fraud that we have been seeing, we will not be seeing. And of course, these documents remained free of charge. So this has gone a long way to help people. And of course, in this new law, people who have lost their papers because they are internally displaced because of these problems, you can reconstitute your dossier or your files anywhere you find yourself in Cameroon. You don't have to go back to your hometown. So I think this is a major achievement that we've had.
Thank you very much, Mr. Simon TAMFU. 5 major achievements we'll be talking about in a couple of minutes from now. But first, I'll bring in Sabrina G, who is joining us live from Studio 2. She'll be discussing with you the role of the Public Independent Conciliator, of course, which is one of the main reasons for which we're having you on set. And she'll be equally analyzing with you the work done so far in that part of the country. Hello, Sabrina, are you getting us?
Hello, Kingsley. It's nice joining you on the program live from Studio 2. Simon TAMFU, it's equally a pleasure being with you on set. So Public Independent Conciliator, what is it all about and why was it created?
I think thank you very much, Sabrina, for this question. I think the thing that the people who created, or the system that created this Public Independent Conciliator office, they had was to make sure that there is fairness and to make sure that the downtrodden, the underserved, and the underprivileged are served in the municipalities. So that brings me to the missions of the Public Independent Conciliator. Mm-hmm. We work as an interface between the councils and the population. Okay. And like I described earlier, when we talk of councils, we mean a group of councils: regional council, city council, the subdivisional council, and the local councils. So we come in there to make sure that service delivery by these councils to the population is good. How do we measure it? We measure it by the fact that these services should be issued or to be dispensed free. They should, nobody should be discriminated, nobody should be marginalized, and that the service should be dispensed within the context of respect of human rights. And then, of course, we also preach ethical conduct by council workers when they are executing their work. And of course, also, we send an annual report to the President after every year. Okay. And then we make sure that the councils work in perfect wavelength with the population, in the sense that we have any problem which is caused by this interaction, we solve the problems amicably. What does that mean? It means that the offices or the services of the Public Independent Conciliator are free. We charge nothing, and then we solve problems for people amicably and free of charge.
Okay, so we are equally curious to know how you go about engaging citizens to participate in local development and governance in communities of the Northwest region.
We have various ways of engaging the population. You know the context in which we operate in the Northwest and the Southwest because of the problem that we are facing. What we have done in the Northwest is that we've created what we call community-based assistance of the Office of the Public Independent Conciliator. These community-based assistants are based in municipalities, and most of them are either pastors, priests, or imams who are based in the municipalities to give us information about the functioning of councils, to make sure that the population is well served without discrimination, without marginalization, in respect of human rights, and make sure that the council workers adopt some kind of ethics in serving the population.
Do you get information from women's groupings or associations as
well? We do. We have a lot of educational seminars. We have, we organize a lot of those outreach activities.
Okay.
And then we have engaged with the women, especially the Catholic Women Association.
And the youths as well.
And the youths. We also go to the marginalized or the minorities, like in Boskuda, that is the groupings of Bororo people. So we go to them, and then we make sure that our message is heard, so that when they go to the council, they have good services. And then if they don't have good services, they have a place where they can lay their complaint. And
not forgetting that you equally made mention of your interest in involving persons living with disabilities.
Yes, we have actually signed a memorandum of understanding with the Baptist Mission, one branch of the Baptist Mission which cares about people living with disabilities. And our focus is there too.
Okay.
So we've done that to be able to reach the suburbs and help these people.
How do women in the Northwest region connect with and lay hold of development visions of the Public Independent Conciliator, given that they are the most exposed and vulnerable segment of the population?
Yes, we have an emphasis on the women in our duties. We make sure that, because when you go to the villages in the Northwest, a lot of males have been killed, or they have displaced themselves, and the women are vulnerable. So we go there to protect them, to make sure that they are served well by the councils, to make sure that they don't pay what they should not pay, they don't pay what is decreed free to be given to the population. So we try to work with women as a group which needs a lot of attention from us.
And so we actually want to understand the nature of complaints you sometimes receive from users, and what happens with cases that fail to reach satisfactory settlements, if at all you have any.
We have a lot of complaints. The nature, a lot of them are economic driven, people who have not been paid their salaries for no good reasons. We come in there and they are paid. Contractors who have not been paid for delivering their services to the councils. We have wrongful termination, because some mayors just come in and say, look, since today is CBDM council, yesterday was SDF, all of you are dismissed. We come in to say, no. Those people are recruited under the labor code. The labor code knows no political connotation. So you got to get them in. And we are from one region. You cannot, expel somebody from here. So you get the worker. If he doesn't work well, then you can lay him off or something like that. So we've been able to try to solve those problems by that kind of method.
And so finally, is there any format for lodging a complaint at the Public Independent Conciliator office? And what is the fee, or perhaps it is cost-free?
It is cost-free first. Format, we don't have any standard format because we are dealing with people who never went to school. We are dealing with people who only speak Pidgin or who only speak their national languages. We have people in the office and we admit all the cases, some of which are not within our domain of intervention. We accept everything and then we can direct some of the cases to other places.
Thank you very much. We salute all your efforts invested in getting the population involved in local development and governance. We wish you more power to your elbows amidst your 6 years term of office. I'll take leave of you both. Kingsley, see you around, and good continuation.
Thank you very much, Sabrina, for having you on set, and thank you very much for your participation. Mr. Simon TAMFU, now Sabrina just mentioned it, you are appointed for a 6-year term, which is not renewable. Yeah. And that, according to certain commentators, give you the sole power to completely do your work perfectly, knowing very well that you wouldn't have a second chance to do that. Is that so?
Exactly. I think the term of 6 years non-renewable gives myself and my counterpart in the Southwest a lot of courage to do what we are doing because we are not waiting for anything. And so, in fact, I think that is a very good thing for an office like this, because if you come to an office like this and see how you can dismantle malpractices that have eaten deep into people's systems, you need to be somebody who has actually no future as such, who will be going away from his job. Then you will do the job well.
Okay, I picked a few things from your conversation with Sabrina. Mm-hmm. You spoke about not laying emphasis on political connotations.
Yes.
And also mentioning the fact that you are not apolitical, that is, you do not be... Now, Simon TAMFU, before becoming Public Independent Conciliator, you were part of the ruling party, was that?
Yes, I was part of the ruling party.
Now, how free are you to completely do your job, especially when we know that you were appointed by the head of state? How did you make yourself accepted by the population?
No, the head of state appointed me, the head of state, as the first citizen of this country, not the president of the CPDM. I was actually in the CPDM, and to be able to do this job, I publicly resigned from the CPDM. My resignation was given to His Excellency Jean Kwete, and he openly and publicly acknowledged my resignation and let me free and wish me well in my new job. So this is how we operate as PIC.
Okay, that's what I guess that's one of the reasons for which when you stand in front of the people of the Northwest region, you're able to speak freely and they're able to embrace you and say, okay, this guy is truly out to work for us because he doesn't have any political leaning, and I mean, there's nothing that's really constraining him.
Yes, this gives us a lot of confidence in that. The biggest confidence we have is that we, myself and my counterpart in the Southwest, report straight to the President of the Republic. And that gives us a lot of leverage. To do what we are doing. And if we have been able to succeed this far, it is because of that.
Before I get into the resolutions of the major national dialogue which we've been discussing, can you briefly tell us, since you came into office, what has been your greatest challenge?
The greatest challenge in the Northwest is insecurity. Insecurity is the greatest challenge, and we needed a lot of courage to do the job we are doing. We visited all the councils in divisional headquarters. We went to Wum, to Mengwe, to Fundong, to Nkambe, to Kumbu, to Ndop, and then, of course, to the Bamenda City Council. I can tell you that it was not easy to do that, but we had to do that.
Can you give us the details? What happened? What made it difficult?
It's difficult because we were actually managed in these journeys by the forces of law and order and by the defense forces. And of course, the separatists feel that anybody in uniform is their enemy. So we had quite a few attacks on the way. We thank God we didn't lose anybody, but we had a few attacks on the way. But that didn't, stop us from getting our message to the population. Now the population is informed about the role of the PIC, and even the separatists, we have information from them that they like what we are doing, because we were created to defend, protect, and guide the downtrodden, the underprivileged, and then the underserved. So they feel that they are also part of that, and then that's why they feel that we are not their enemies. And probably that's why we made this tour of all the divisions of the Northwest without any major thing. If we were attacked because, of course, we were given the protection of the forces, for which we are very grateful, for which we are very grateful. If they were not there, we wouldn't have gone anywhere.
So the attacks were not because they were aimed at, reaching you?
No.
Yeah.
They were not attacks aimed at the PIC.
The PIC.
They were attacks meant for people in uniform. That's what they say.
Yeah.
That people in uniform.
Perhaps they didn't even know you were part of that convoy.
Well, we talk on community radios. We talk everywhere in the Northwest. We leave no doubt in anybody's mind about where we are going to.
Okay, whenever you're about to move, you...
Oh yeah, we talk.
Okay.
We talk.
Okay.
We talk to make people prepare for us and get us. Yeah.
Okay. Now, let's look into the resolutions of the major national dialogue. Now, the first major point of the major national dialogue was the special status that was granted to the Northwest and the Southwest regions of the country in accordance with Article 62 of the Constitution.
Yes.
Now, many Cameroonians hear about the special status. We've been talking about it since 2019 in December, but very few know what it's all about. Can you tell us?
Okay, let me tell you something about the special status by comparing and contrasting let us just say, the typical regional assembly of the Northwest and Southwest with the typical regional council of the Francophone regions. The fact is, first name, the Francophone regions call it regional councils, full stop. In Anglophone Cameroon, they call it regional executive council. And the composition over there within the Anglophone section is that you have the House of Chiefs, you have 3 commissioners in charge of various domains in the economy, which means they are actually like regional ministers. Huh?
Yeah.
So you have that in fact, the Francophone regions don't have House of Chiefs and they don't have commissioners. So that's the difference. And then the other difference is that the regional assembly in Boya and Bamenda can impeach their president, but the other regional councils cannot. If the president does anything, they'll wait for the next election. Then the other major difference is that Northwest and Southwest have the office of Public Independent Conciliator. And I've just described what he does.
Exactly.
And then the others don't have. So this is the difference. In terms of difference, this is the difference.
So according to your explanation, there's some form of greater level of autonomy.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's a lot of autonomy within the Northwest and the Southwest. I can tell you that let me use the text of the Public Independent Conciliator. It is said in one of the articles that the Public Independent Conciliator can initiate or amend existing legislation to better manage the councils. I mean, the council is the basic unit of administration. If you have powers to arrange at that level and people live well, then it means that it can have a multiplier effect. It can go to higher heights, and then it can even go to national. You see? So this is one of the things that is the big advantage of the special status.
Okay. Now, you spoke about the peculiarity of the Northwest and the Southwest regions pertaining to the House of Chiefs, most especially. I would like you to explain to us what kind of collaboration do you, as the PIC, the Public Independent Conciliator, have with the House of Chiefs, the regional councils, the assemblies? I mean, how do you anchor your work with them?
No, the fact is that we are like the regulator of all councils, irrespective of whether they're regional, city, subdivisional, or local. And you know that when we talk about regional assembly, the House of Chiefs comes under there, because House of Chiefs is part of the regional assembly. So our relationship is that of PIC making sure that good service delivery is done to the population by these councils without any discrimination and in respect of human rights. And we also see about good governance. Good governance means what? Good governance means that bad things like corruption should not be done in the councils. So we make sure that, you know, resources are fairly distributed and that the population is happy.
Are these assemblies kind of answerable to you?
No. They're not answerable to the PIC. The PIC is just there like a whistleblower.
So how do you effectively control them and see what
we don't control them.
Okay.
What we do is we get in there to make sure that good governance is practiced. When it is not practiced, we pull it to their attention and we publish it. This is what we do. We don't actually control them as such. We're like whistleblowers.
So you carry, I mean, in order to tap the information you need so as to produce your report, you carry out surveys?
Yes. We carry out what we call perception surveys. We've chosen perception because perception is a kind of survey which you use the people working in the structure to tell you how they feel about the structure. So actually, when you look in our report, it looks spectacular, but we have not created anything. We got the information from the people themselves. Like, for example, we go to the regional assembly, we get them fill our questionnaires, we analyze, and then we interpret, and then we give them the answers. So they are actually, it's the way the workers perceive the management of the structure.
Okay.
This is what we do, and it has been very effective because what we do is we publish this result, we name and shame, and this has been very, very effective.
Talking about naming and shaming, I read your report of 2023 and saw the statistics therein. A lot of corruption, a lot of bribery in the different councils that you visited. Don't you have the impression sometimes that you are being persona non grata, undesirable, like you are?
Oh yeah. In 2023, we were undesirable elements in the Northwest as far as the mayors were concerned. But we persisted. And I can tell you that we are more of friends and stakeholders with the mayors than anything. I invite you to read the 2024 annual report. It is on the website. It is a great improvement, simply because we exposed those things. Because we couldn't believe that, you know, in a setup like the Northwest, people living in poverty, and then council authorities are extorting. That was completely unacceptable to us. So we had to publish the names of the councils. And then, of course, we have looked at the very values this year, 2024. They have it's tremendous improvement. So it is not completely gone. I can tell you that.
But there's progress.
There's progress in the sense that money was taken on the table in exchange of civil status documents. But now few councils are taking that very money under the table. And we know them, and we have named them. So we are on the path of liberating the people.
Now, you were telling us about the relationship you have with these assemblies, you know, which are peculiar to the Northwest and the Southwest regions,
yes,
as compared to the other regions of the country. I mean, can you give us a brief explanation of how these houses, at their own level, are contributing towards solving the Anglophone crisis in those regions?
Thank you very much for this question. If you go to the Northwest, the Regional Assembly has done a tremendous work in terms of project. You go to almost all the divisions of the Northwest, they are carrying major projects. And these major projects are human or labor intensive. And this is also helping to drain the fighters from the bushes.
Okay.
So they have been able to do that. And we are very, very proud of the kind of achievements that they have had so far.
I know it's not very much of your competency, but it means you could have a little bit idea, of concerning the presidential plan for reconstruction and development, because I guess what you just said falls, yes, in line with...
We are indirectly, we are not very directly connected with presidential reconstruction, yeah, but indirectly we are concerned with that in the sense that when these projects are executed in the municipalities, the DOs and the mayors play a role, and then we work with the DOs, and then of course we make sure that these things are well done, because it's part of the evaluation that we give to the mayors of executing project. So we look at it from afar. We are not really involved in it, but we make sure that it is done. Because, come to think of it, in Cameroon it is very common for a project to be executed very well on paper. We have seen that.
Yeah.
We have called it out. And those projects have been redone in the Northwest.
There's fictitious projects?
Oh yeah,
done on papers, but
yes,
in the field, nothing?
It's not in the field. Done on paper, very clean, received. And then we have, I told you, we have community-based assistance in all municipalities. We work with all communal radios in the Northwest. And then they are out there, and we are telling them, okay, what is the status of this and so forth? And they told us all those things. And then we, of course, when information comes to the Public Independent Conciliator, the Public Independent Conciliator consults with the person concerned, and the next step is that if it is not rescued, it is going into his report, which will be made public, and that is a deterrent for any wrongdoing.
Now, I believe perhaps the fact that certain fictitious reports come yes, concerning certain projects, like this project has been done, whereas it's not been done, it's only been done on paper. It's also due to the mechanism employed concerning the distribution of projects. Are you privy to the details of how in the different councils projects are being distributed so that no one is left behind?
We educate the citizens we had a big campaign before the end of the year called Citizens Participation in Council Activities. We educate the citizens to make sure that they are involved in all the projects. And that takes away that behavior of saying this project was executed when it was not executed, because we have reports on top of even the reports we get from the community-based assistance of the PIC. We exige and get quarterly report from all the mayors. So we get quarterly report from all the mayors. We confront those reports with our community-based assistants, and then we verify in the field and see whether it is true or not. So we're correcting a lot of things.
And as you just said, a couple of things are really going towards the positive direction, thanks to the report you're making. And another major point of the major national dialogue was the work of the permanent disarmament, demobilization, and reintegration centers created in Tiko in the southwest region and in Bafut in the northwest region, where you are concerned. And reports have it that over 3,500 ex-fighters have already been enrolled in different centers in Boya, Bamenda, and even in Mora, because that commission also concerned the Boko Haram crisis. Now, does the independent public conciliator work with these centers somehow? Because you spoke a while ago about bringing people out of the bushes.
No, we don't work with the DDR.
Okay.
We don't work with the DDR at all. We have this general information from public sources also.
Okay.
So we don't work with DDR, but we privilege and encourage projects which are labor intensive, which the councils are carrying on.
Okay.
We encourage the mayors to get involved in those kind of projects, especially in rural areas, so that it can act as a source of income for those in the bushes.
We are in a crucial year,
Yeah.
2025, presidential elections to take place in the month of October. And back in 2018, during the presidential election, there was only one voting station in Bamenda, the northwest region. And because at that moment, the crisis was really kind of at its peak, you know, started in 2016 and it was moving up. And we want to know, 7 years after, with the work that is being done, the public independent conciliator, the different assemblies and all of that, is there any assurance, any guarantee that the polls, the voting could take place in a more serene environment, more secure, with perhaps more voting stations? Do you think? I mean,
well, let me maybe more or less correct your question, because that has come to me as a very strange thing. That there was one station, voting station in the Northwest. No. There was, I mean, all the divisions of the Northwest voted.
okay. In
All the
2018?
divisions. They might have reduced the polling stations from the suburbs, but the polling stations in urban centers were on.
Okay.
So I can assure you that the coming election, without being a politician, just a citizen who is seeing things, like I told you, everybody is tired. So everybody is looking for a different solution. And the only solution people are looking up to is to participate in the political life of their country. So that even if there's blame or gain, they should be found present in the political life of the country.
Concretely, what are some of the things the citizens tell you when you discuss with them one-on-one? Like, I believe you're talking with people.
Yes.
You've mentioned that the people are tired severally.
No, they're tired for one thing. The separatists told them it's going to take weeks, maximum months, and that their children may not go to school for that time. They will not lose a lot. You mentioned 9 years. Every parent who has not sent his child to school, he is not happy with it. And that's why the population is turning against the separatists. And that's why I see the, what do you call it, the end of the tunnel. I see some light, you know, because you cannot continue, you cannot build a country like that. That people should not go to school. I think that was the greatest mistake, because something else should have been done, but not school. And then, of course, people are tired. You've seen some of the fighters have been lynched publicly by the population because the population took them as saviors who will come and protect them and so forth. Now they are extorting from them, they are kidnapping them, they are stealing from them. What do we expect? Their children are not going to school, business is not going, the population is turning.
You're in the role of the peacemaker.
Yes.
You know, with alternative dispute resolution methods,
yes.
Bringing people together, not judging, condemning one party, but trying to make peace.
Yeah.
Now, even though your office is basically between users and administrations, somehow, is there not the kind of reconciliation that's needed to be done within the population, the separatists, and the normal people?
I think the biggest reconciliation that can be done, because of this tiredness I'm talking to you about, there is a hand stretched by the head of state for peace. And if you lay down your arms, you're not going to be persecuted. You go to DDR, they transform you into a useful citizen. That is the way out. That is the way out, because if you don't have that, then you're risking yourself. They are being killed. The day they are lucky, they will kidnap somebody to get money. The day they are not lucky, they are killed. You see? But if you just lay down your arms and go to DDR, you're a free person. So I think that is the best way out of it. And the population has understood that. And now that the population is turning against the separatists, I think we are reaching the end of the road.
Thank you very much, Mr. Simon TAMFU, for being our guest on this special interview program, the Grande Interview. It was a pleasure having you all the way from Bamenda, the Northwest region, to Yaoundé. We thank you for your time and for your answers.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure for me to be on your program tonight.
We're hoping to have you some other time too.
Well, if you come earlier than when I would have left the office of the Public Independent Conciliator.
Okay. We wish you a safe trip back to Bamenda.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
You're welcome, sir.
Thank you.
Well, dear viewers, that's where we put an end to this Grande Interview with Simon TAMFU, who is the Public Independent Conciliator of the Northwest region. We hope to see you sometime soon in another program with another invitee on another topic that will be dear to your heart. Thank you for watching. Have a nice time. Bye.